Okay, so I want you to picture a government filing. Notice the type, it's dry, it's bureaucratic, stamped with official seals from Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Yeah, the kind of thing that makes your eyes glaze over.
Exactly. Usually these are for like manufacturing plants or IT consultants. But I'm holding a certificate of incorporation right here from Jammu that just breaks every single stereotype.
It really is a collision of worlds. You're looking at the birth certificate of the Haipapingo Federation.
Which sounds like a typo, doesn't it? But it's not.
Not at all. Fully incorporated on July 21st, 2025.
And right off the bat, this is not what you expect. When we talk about hip-hop, especially somewhere like J&K, you think, I don't know, underground, maybe a little rebellious.
For sure. You don't think government-registered Section 8 company?
No.
And that distinction, that Section 8 status, is actually the key to this whole thing.
Explain that for us.
Well, a Section 8 company in India is specifically for nonprofits. It's for organizations promoting art, charity, social welfare. So by choosing this structure, the founders, Mohit Pat and Manohar Lal Radhu, they're doing more than just starting a club in Durganagar.
They're formalizing it?
They're institutionalizing a subculture. They're basically saying hip-hop isn't just entertainment. It's a vehicle for social change.
And that's where this really gets fascinating. I was reading their Memorandum of Association, which is, basically their rule book, and the objects clause is just wild.
Oh, I know the part you mean.
They've explicitly linked rap and street art to de-addiction and psychological wellness.
It's a fascinating pivot, isn't it? They're almost medicalizing the culture. So instead of traditional talk therapy, which might feel, I don't know, a bit alienating to a teenager in Jammu,
Right.
They're using what they call art-based healing. They're handing a microphone to a kid who might be struggling with substance abuse, and they're calling it therapy.
So is there, actual science to back that up, or is it just a nice idea?
Oh, there is. They use the term music therapy in the docs, but it's really about giving these kids agency. The documents mention creating platforms for survivors to become peer mentors.
So the person who recovers doesn't just leave.
Exactly. They become the guide for the next person. It creates this cycle of recovery, all wrapped in the cool factor of hip-hop.
But it goes even further than just therapy. I saw listings for Peace Music Records and PMR Media Agency. That sounds like a business.
That's the other registration kicking in, the Udyam registration.
That's for small businesses, right?
For micro, small, and medium enterprises, yeah. By registering as a micro enterprise, they're acknowledging that while therapy is great, economic independence is what really makes a difference.
So they aren't just treating the addiction.
No, they're training these kids in music production, video editing, digital marketing. They're giving them a job.
It's like vertical integration for social work. You get clean, you learn to mix a track, and then you get a job at their agency.
Precisely. And because they've secured their 12A and 80G registrations, which is basically tax speak for we are tax exempt and so are your donations, they can actually attract serious funding to pay for it all. It transforms at-risk youth into skilled media professionals.
Okay, we have to talk about the one-line item that really stopped me in my tracks.
Let me guess. The elderly.
Yes. Amidst all this talk of beats and rap battles, there's a classification code for social work activities for the elderly. How does that fit in?
I love that detail. It seems so contradictory, right? Hip-hop is so youth-obsessed. But if you think about the social fabric in a place like Jammu, you have this big generational divide.
So you think it's an intentional bridge?
100%. Look, if you have disaffected youth and you have lonely elders, you have two social problems. By bringing them together, maybe having the kids perform for them or help them, you start to solve both.
The youth get a sense of purpose, of service, and the elders get engagement.
Right. It completely reframes hip-hop as community service rather than just rebellion. It's so ambitious. And speaking of ambition, I saw the hashtag Mission 2030 mentioned.
Oh, they are not thinking small. The goal is to cover over 2,200 cities across India by 2030. They've even enrolled on the government's e-Anudin portal,
which is the direct pipeline for grants from the Ministry of Social Justice.
So they are setting themselves up to take this model national.
It really challenges your perception of what a social worker even looks like. We usually picture someone with a clipboard. This model suggests the social worker of the future might be a beatboxer.
It suggests that cultural relevance is just as important as clinical training. If you want to reach people on the streets, you have to speak the language of the streets.
Yeah.
And in 2025, that language is hip-hop.
It's a powerful proof of concept. And it leaves us with, I think, a really provocative question to chew on. We're seeing hip-hop being formalized as this government-recognized tool for de-addiction and even elderly care.
So what other hobbies or subcultures are we just dismissing as a waste of time? That could actually be the key to solving some really serious social issues.
Gaming,
If
skateboarding,
it builds community, it can probably build a cure.
something to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.